Here we are. ASMR again, Tina. At least we're awake for this episode.
Yes, let's be awake. Okay.
Uh-huh. Hi, everybody. It's
Hello.
Everything Energy with Tina and Jeremy. I'm Jeremy Bills, and you can find me at createwithj.com. Now that's CRE, the number 8, with J.com.
Oh, I love that. And I'm Tina Falk. Good morning, everybody. And my website is Are We Awake?
What is it? What's your website, Tina?
Um, Feng Shui. Oh, that's a tough word to spell. Feng
It
Shui
is.
via.me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's FENGSHUI via dot me.
Yeah,
Wow, it might be earlier than I think it is.
it might be. It
Yeah,
might be.
I've always thought maybe I should just find a shorter version of a website, but I don't.
I think
You
all
know.
website names are kind of weird. So,
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that's true.
and if you're having trouble finding us, we have links in the profile on all of our platforms. We're actually really
Comments.
really easy to find in the
Yeah.
comments as well.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Or just comment and message us, and we'll send you links to get where you need to go. But yeah, we have
Hmm.
lots of stuff on our websites, different ways that we can serve you and help you navigate this world. So
Hmm.
you kind of sprung this one on me this
I
morning,
did.
like an
I
hour
did.
before. We were
Well, I've been
planned.
getting so many texts and messages just in
Hmm.
the last 24 hours. Today is July 14th. Yesterday was July 13th. And we had that infamous event that happened in American history yesterday with the
Hmm.
Trump rally. And
Hmm.
I've been looking at social media for the last the last day, just seeing how many people are commenting on what happened and really kind of showing people how the astrology behind it worked. So that's what we're
Hmm.
here to do today.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you and I were both, as soon as it happened, on our computers or phones pulling charts for the day and the hour
Uh-huh.
and figuring
Yeah.
out what the relationship is here to connect the
Yes.
dots. Because it
Yep.
helps that I love doing that, Jeremy. And it's not so much of saying, see, this is why this happens. It teaches me for things
Me
to
too.
watch out for in
Yes.
myself, in my clients, to teach my students to say, here's the trend. We got to follow. As much as I don't want to watch the news or pay attention to this stuff,
Mhm.
it teaches me
Yeah,
about the energy that we're living in. So anyway,
it does. It
where
does.
do you,
Well,
where do you want
everything
to
is a
start?
cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a cycle. What are the cycles that are happening right now? What are the cycles that are being repeated? Historically, history repeats itself. So I want to see why. I want to see what is in the skies right now that is similar to what has happened before. So that
Mm-hmm.
as we're approaching new uncharted territory in the world, we can kind of track those cycles so that we can see and at least prepare ourselves for what's to come.
Yeah, great. So where do you want to start with this?
Let's start with his Western astrology. I wanted to touch on a couple of different things. This graphic that we're going to show is his natal chart, which is right in the center. That chart in the center, that's his birth energy. His sun shines in the sign of Gemini. He's a Leo rising with a Sagittarius moon. In the outer ring, we have all of the planets exactly where they were yesterday, July 13th, 2024, in Butler, Pennsylvania, when this happened.
Mm.
So it's really good to kind of see where are the planets manifesting and what area of life are they lighting up. You can see at the top of his chart, he has that little red glyph, which is kind of a red arrow pointing up. That's Mars. Mars is the planet of forward movement, action, desire, war. This is the sun, this is the planet of aggression. And it's right
Mm.
next to that little kind of light blue glyph that is Uranus. Uranus is the planet of expecting the unexpected.
Mm.
And to have both of those planets right next to each other, they call that a conjunction in Western astrology, in
Okay.
his 10th house of fate, destiny, what he came here to do with his life, and also his career. Now, right above Mars, you can see that little brown glyph that looks like it has horns. That is the glyph for Taurus, which is what we call his midheaven, which is again to do with fate and destiny. So to have those two planets right on his midheaven, setting off those red lines, which are called squares, to his natal Mars. When Mars, the planet of action, war, is squaring itself, this is kind of like the card in the tarot deck that is the Tower card. It's the image of that big, huge tower with a lightning bolt
Mm-hmm.
hitting it, and the tower kind of crumbling to the ground. They call this in the healing world tower moments. When you pull a tower card in your tarot pull, there's some changes that are going to be happening, and they might hit you out of nowhere. But then to have the transcendental planet Uranus intensifying this information, not information, intensifying this energy, it really, really influences that planet to make it even more unexpected.
Mm.
So this is also setting off this energy to his ascendant, which is that glyph that is at the far left side of his chart with the number 29 above it. That's his ascendant. He's a Leo rising or a Leo ascendant, and that's also influencing his ascendant, which can also pertain to health and health issues.
Mm.
Now, the final thing that I wanted to touch on in this chart is that blue glyph in the upper right-hand corner in the 8th house. That, it looks like a little pitchfork. That is the trident of Neptune. That is Neptune energy. Neptune is the planet of illusion, confusion, and fear. But on the other side of that is trust and spiritual connection. It's setting off that really kind of maroon-looking dotted line over to his ascendant. And Neptune is in the 8th house of death, rebirth, transformation, but this is also the house of murder.
Oh.
So when we see that red line, that kind of maroon dotted line hitting his ascendant, which pertains to his health, there's illusion and confusion pertaining to that energy. We're seeing a
Mm.
lot of people on social media commenting, oh, it was all a hoax, it was planned, it was staged. I don't know. It could be with that Neptune energy. However, there's also a lot of aggression here. This, you know, that when right after he was shot, he lifted his fist up and said, "Fight, fight, fight."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's that aggression of Mars. So
Yeah.
to combine those two energies together, it's unexpected. There's illusion, confusion connected to it, and it's very aggressive. It's very, very warlike.
Wow. That's really interesting. So if he would have been, if this would have happened, I'm just curious about the chart in general.
Yeah.
If this would
Yeah.
have happened in like in California, would it have been a different chart?
No.
Okay.
No, it would not have been. It all of these planets would have been aligned in those specific houses. So anywhere he would have been in the world, it wouldn't have changed things much.
Okay. Wow. Fascinating.
It is
So,
fascinating. And I think I can remember during our monthly update that we were talking about this conjunction of Mars, which is
hmm,
action, aggression, war, conjunct Uranus, which is unexpected energy. So
yeah. And yeah, I think typically when we think of war, we think of big picture, like big scale. But man, it's just a lot to digest, isn't it?
it is. It is. And it's also kind of interesting to kind of witness to see how that energy is manifesting.
Hmm. Did we pull did you happen to look at a chart that was just of the day in general for people, like how that
Yeah.
whole day was?
Yeah, so that chart on the outside is the day chart.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
the exact time and
I
moment
see.
in time when things were happening. So what's interesting is that the sun in that outer ring up in the 11th house is also setting off one of those red lines down to the moon in the third house. So that's 11th house energy, which is groups, goals, visions, dreams, down to his third house, which is speaking.
Mm,
So again, even out in the outer ring that was influencing everyone, there was a challenge between the personality of the day and the emotions of the day.
mm. Wow. Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah,
So does this,
I'm such a geek for this stuff. I find it so fascinating.
yeah, it is. It's so cool. I really need to take your course so that I can learn more. Although I like that you're the expert in my life, so I can just call you and hear your take on this stuff. Gosh,
Well,
what was I going to
we're
I can't
about
remember what I
halfway
was going to
through the
say.
first
Sorry.
course. No, it's okay. We're about halfway through this first course and it's so much fun. I think that the people that are taking the course are having such a lot of fun
I
just
bet.
understanding all of the nuances and details that pertain
Mhm.
to understanding your natal chart. So, and we've actually used Donald Trump's chart as a case study too. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's been kind of fun and interesting.
So cool. Well, do you want to look at are you done here? Do you want to look at
Yes.
the Eastern
Yeah,
chart?
let's look at the Eastern chart. I'm excited to see.
So what I've got here is I've got Donald Trump's four pillars at the top, and
Mhm.
then the chart of the moment that he was shot. That's down at the bottom. So kind of like your outer ring versus his inner ring. This
Mhm.
is the in red is the energy of the day, the hour,
Yeah.
the day, the month, and the year, and then his chart is at the top. His dog just getting nailed
Yeah, it
by the
is.
chart. And so his
It is.
dog sits in his life path pillar,
Mhm.
right? And it's his connection to the world and how the world sees him. And the dog, I mean, all year, perhaps, we've seen him sitting in trial. We see him, getting bashed. And a lot of it's because he's getting beat up by the dragon of the year. The
Mhm.
dragon of the year clashes with his dog.
Yeah.
So they sit opposing each other on the zodiac wheel, and the dragon is saying, "You're going to have to go a different direction. You're going to have to do something different. You don't have a choice. Things are going to change for you." And usually, a clash is pretty significant, especially in the year pillar. It means a big
Mhm.
life change, a big pivot.
Mhm.
The dog is also getting hit by the goat, um, the month of the goat that we're in right now, and that's a bullying energy. It's kind of a
Mhm.
pushing energy, and it's usually comes from outside forces
Yeah.
coming at you. So it's interesting that the goat of the month is pairing up with his goat, going after his dog,
Mhm.
saying, kind of cornering the dog, where the dog is the one typically that's hurting. He's running the group. He's in charge. But now the
Mhm.
goats are pushing back, saying,
No.
surrounding him and forcing him, into a different kind of positioning.
Right.
And then the rooster's nailing his dog too with a damage, which is or
Yeah.
a harm, which is a misfortune, illness, injury,
Mhm.
and it's an energy that it's really because I was doing some research really quick before we came on. It's about insecurity. It's about
Mm.
needing attention.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this fosters the attention that he desires, and levels that gives him more attention because it's giving him
Yeah.
more attention, and that's what he's getting
Oh,
out of this.
100%,
Hmm.
100%. I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of like martyr energy, like, "Look what happened to me," and it's going to
Hmm.
incite a lot of different, emotions. Again, I find it really interesting to have that rooster in the emotional body of the day. You know, I mean, trying to kill someone is definitely a heightened emotion that's wanting to get
Hmm.
out there. The
Hmm.
rooster it uses its voice. It says cock a doodle doo, everyone look at me. And boy, that's
That's interesting.
definitely
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because that's how that kid was using his voice, right?
yeah,
And
yep,
look at the energy. It's a yin metal fire.
yep.
That's gun.
Yeah,
That's a
it
weapon.
is.
Firing and the heat of, the firing and the bullet, the speed of it, the heat of all of that, that's a very
Yeah,
volatile energy.
very.
Um, that's really interesting. I didn't catch that before. The goat and the dog is also a breakup energy. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cutting ties,
Mhm.
with cutting connections. And his dog, his goat, his personal goat finally feels like it has a friend, but it's really
Mhm.
going, all his other animals are fine. It's just
Yeah.
really about his connection to the world and how the world sees
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what a rally is all about. It's about going and speaking and, getting out your message and bringing people
Mhm.
together for the same cause. That's definitely affecting his year pillar, which is
Yeah.
how he is in groups, how people see him and the kind of community he's building. So,
Mhm. Yeah, so interesting. I also go to a place, and if you look at the full body chakra system,
mhm.
the ears are the heart.
Yeah, they are.
And it was his right ear, which is masculine energy.
Mhm.
So it's about what wasn't he putting forth as far as love, because that's where he got hit, right? That's not
Mhm.
there's a weakness there, and there's a disturbance in his energy field, in his heart field, so
Yes.
that's where he would, the wound would have occurred.
Exactly. And that's really, really connecting to his rising sign or his ascendant sign, which is Leo. And Leo also rules the heart. So,
Oh, that's what you said in that last call. He,
yeah.
if you guys want to go back, if you haven't listened to it, the patriarch episode, we
Hmm.
we do a reading for Donald Trump, and you talk about that.
Yeah. It's connected to the star Regulus, and Regulus is the king maker. And if the king is not ruling with the lion heart or the heart of
Hmm.
courage and love, then there's a possibility of, violence.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it just, you know, we're going to definitely do the episode we were going to record this morning,
Yes.
but it goes to, kind of part of that conversation is, if we're governing from the shadow side of ourselves, from the ego,
Hmm.
versus are we governing from the heart space of ourselves, or from
Yeah.
our soul and our spirit and the greater good, what a difference it can make. Now, these
Yeah.
clashes that we've talked about, it would be quite a different reading. Perhaps that person wouldn't get, excuse me, perhaps if this was a different person and they were governing from more of a light side, they may
Hmm.
not have gotten shot, right? Those energies may have occurred in a different way,
Right.
might have manifested in a different way for them, that pushed them, for instance, you know, say this person isn't Donald Trump and they have this dog ear pillar, and then all of the animals except for the tiger are kind of going after the dog. Well, someone who's governing from the light side would see those as opportunities, like, oh, I'm going to shift. This is a great time. I've been preparing for this change. I've been
Hmm.
working on making, healing and bettering my relationships or getting to where I want to go. And so I
Yeah.
see this coming, and this will be a beneficial thing for me. It might feel uncomfortable, it might feel a bit challenging, but they see that as a gift or an opportunity for growth and expansion, rather than, oh, fuck, I'm going to fight and resist all this and I'm going to be pissed off at the world and play the victim.
Exactly. And we can also look at I love that you included the bottom chart there, the day chart, because that day energy, all four of those pillars, all of the animals in all four of those pillars, they manifest the light and dark side while we're doing our day. So we're
Mm-hmm.
feeling the influence of all four of those pillars just as humans, and they're affecting our four pillars, our animals and our four pillars. And
Mm-hmm.
so connecting the dots there, same thing with the transit chart in the Western astrology, that outer chart. We're all influenced by the planets every single day.
Mm-hmm.
We get to make a choice. Are we going to be influenced by the negative or the positive? How are we going to do our day? Now, of
Mm-hmm.
course, there's some days where we End up in bed watching Netflix and eating chocolate. I have a lot of those days. And those are the days where the negative influences of those pillars and those zodiac animals are affecting us. Maybe we have a lot of clashes that day between, our emotions and our mind. And so that's
Mhm.
why it's important to track these cycles, because we can see the influence of these cycles through the charts and how the energy is going to manifest.
Yeah, and I think it's worth, one way that we can all do this is think back just, yes, when the day that this happened, it depends on when day you're listening to this. What were you
Mhm.
doing when you heard about this
Yes.
shooting? What were
Mhm.
you doing? Like I'm picturing myself. I was downstairs with my daughter and granddaughter. My granddaughter had a rough day yesterday. She
Mhm.
was fussy. She wouldn't take a nap, which is completely unlike her. That girl loves her naps. And she was just struggling a bit.
Mhm.
And, she's only one, but she was struggling a bit with the energy. And so I can see that now. My granddaughter has two rabbits in her chart. That rooster was clashing with her rabbits at that
Yeah.
hour. In
Yeah.
fact, I had done something which I kind of misdirected her, and she started crying. And, oh, I felt horrible. She didn't get hurt or anything like that, but it was that hour. Those
Yeah.
roosters were going after her two rabbits. And so I just find it fascinating. So when those moments happen and you have an opportunity to look at the energy that was there, reflect.
Mhm.
Because look how it influenced Donald Trump in those people
Mhm.
in the stands,
Yeah.
and the person that died, and the people who are in the hospital, or the
Yeah.
Secret Service, or anybody, or even the shooter. Look how it influenced them.
Yeah.
It's
And I'm
fascinating.
sure that if we had the charts of those people, we would see those influences. We would see
Mm-hmm.
how their charts were affected that day. This is why I
Mm-hmm.
look at my chart every day. I look every day and I'm like, okay,
Mm.
here's what I am planning on doing for the day. Is this a possibility?
That's so
because
funny.
because I'm the kind of person that I'll plan something, and if it falls to hell, I'll freak out. I hate it when plans don't go
Mm,
the way I plan them.
mm,
So I'll just look at the chart, I'll find out where the moon is for the day, I'll see what the animals are. Are they animals that I play well with, or are they not animals that I play well with? And on the days that I have animals that I'm not playing well with, I'll I will schedule a couple of tasks. Like if there's work to do, I will do the work and then I will go to bed. Like I'm not going to even try to feel joy on the days where I'm having a bunch of freaking clashes, because that's just an uphill battle.
It's so funny because I'm the opposite. I do the thing and then I'm like, "Oh, well, that was a shit day. Oh, I'm gonna pull the chart and see why." Or that was a really God, I got new students or new, clients. I wanna see the chart. I always go, like, enforce, go look
Well,
back.
okay, so let's look at that. You have a horse in your chart and I have a rat in my chart. The
Mm.
rat is going to pre-plan. The horse is like, "Fuck that. I'm out of here. Let's go." So there's that energy of opposites, right?
Yeah, that's so funny. It's so true, though. Oh gosh. Um, gosh. It's an interesting year. It's a dragon year. Who knows
It's
what,
intense. We don't know what's going to
the
happen
dragon is
next.
bringing in. Do you have anything else you want to share here?
One thing that I want to share is that I want everyone to know that's listening, me and Tina do not support violence in any way, shape, or form. This,
Mhm.
what we're filming right now is just to help you understand the cycles of what was happening on July 13th that led up to the events that happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was kind of surprised with the numerology of the day, that it
Oh,
was a
what was
one.
it? I
It
didn't,
was a
I didn't look
Yeah,
at that.
it was a one day. So
Ah,
one is new beginnings,
yeah.
starting over. It's your life path.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised by that, but who knows? Maybe it is a new kind of
Maybe it's a new
energy.
beginning,
Yeah, we'll
new
see. We
chapter.
shall see.
We
Yeah, I
will.
mean, we could do it. we could do a little video like this every freaking day just to pull the energy and see what's happening. Like, why did a hospital in Ukraine full of children get bombed? Why
Yeah.
did, this happen or that happen? Or it's that kind of thing. And then Jeremy and I, not that we're, maybe Jeremy's obsessed, but not me so much as pulling the charts.
I do spend a lot of time at this computer looking at charts. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie to you.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Makes you connected. It makes you really experienced and an expert, in your field, because it's not just a hobby. It's not just
No,
something that you pick up and, oh, I have a client. I guess I'm going to have to open up my astrology book today. It's a
no.
part of who you are. And that's what I tell people too. This isn't a hobby for me. I see the world this way. And
I
when I
live it.
meet you, I'm wondering what animal you are. I'm wondering what your
100%.
master element is.
Yeah.
All
I
that.
I I think that the other thing that astrology has done for me is I have a lot of fire energy in both of my charts. I'm very high fire in my Chinese chart, very high fire in my Western chart. And I have always been one that makes snap judgments. I still do. However, when I'm able to study someone's astrology chart, I'm able to find so much more compassion for that person than before I was studying astrology. Before I was just like, snap judgment, send them to prison, I'm out of here,
Mm-hmm.
let them rot. But now when
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to look at their charts, I'm able to go, oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they see the world. This is how the
Yeah.
world comes at them. And that is really valuable information to have when you're searching for compassion, because compassion, I'm able to feel compassion pretty easily, but I'm also able to feel anger and war pretty easily as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly counteracting that energy. So astrology has really helped me with that.
Well, it's I agree with you, because I can, like my husband can bug the crap out of me, but then I always have this override, this little voice that says, "Oh, that's his ox." It was like yesterday we agreed we're going to go break down the boxes in the garage, throw them in the car, and take them to the landfill, right, to the
Hmm.
recycling center. And I've got my box cutter in my pocket. I got my shoes on. I'm heading out the door, and I look around, and he's just standing there, kind of looking around the living room, like, "Let's go." He has an
Hmm.
ox in his chart. He moves
Needs to
slower. It.
think about it. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so then I just ease off. Where before I knew feng shui and Chinese astrology, I would have just been on him, like, "I thought we were doing this. What are you doing?"
Let's go.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
find that my clients way appreciate seeing their spouse's chart or their children's
Oh,
charts. It
mhm.
changes everything in a
Changes every.
relationship when
Mhm.
you can see each other outside of ego and outside of those little quirks and irritants that get to us. You can really appreciate that, oh, that's why I married this person, or this is why
Mhm.
this child is struggling, or this is where their gifts are. It's
Yeah.
just it's a beautiful gift to give yourself a reading. I feel like
Mhm.
this is a commercial, but it really is, isn't it? It's just,
I
I've
think it
had,
is.
I had a client, it's been a few years. He didn't hire me for a chart reading, but like you and me, we don't go and do. He hired me for some feng shui for his office. I think he just wanted me to tell him where to put pictures, hang up his pictures on the wall. But you know me, I
Mhm.
have to pull his chart, and I wanted to touch on his chart when I first got there. I think I spent 20 minutes on his chart, just kind of touching some of his animals and looking at his elements, because knowing his elements is important. So I know what colors and what things he does need in his space. So I
Right.
read his chart, and he just pushed himself away from his desk, and he said, "Holy crap." He said, "I've been in therapy for 7 years. I just learned more about myself in the last 20 minutes. What is this that you're talking? What is this that you're doing?" But
Yeah.
he connected with it. But
Mhm.
he's like, "What is this? Do you work with people just one on one?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
what we do."
That's what I do.
And he was just, he's a corporate kind of guy, but his mind was blown by, because, and I'm going to give you one other example. I did a reading for this kid, early 20s, middle of Wyoming. This
Hmm.
kid found me, and he was in a place where he needed to reach out. I did a reading for him, and he sent me an email back and said, "This is the first time I've ever been seen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for seeing me and for helping me see myself." It was so
Yeah.
profound for him because, maybe him being in the middle of Wyoming isn't the best place for him. That's not where he's going to be seen. He's
Right.
going to be overlooked. So, anyway, it's so incredibly valuable.
Yeah, it is. I had the same experience the first time I had my Western natal chart read. I felt like someone saw who I truly was. Even
Mm,
even though I had friends and family that saw me, they didn't see me as with the precision that she saw me, and she had never met me before.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you did my Chinese chart for the first time, I was like, "Oh my god, this makes so much sense."
Mm.
And I didn't really like the animals that you were telling me that I had in my chart, but I connected to it and I understood it. So,
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about
so
that? Because that question came up with my students that are in training right now, going through the
okay.
certification program. Um, One of them is doing their field work, and she met with a client, and the client did not connect with any of her animals. And in fact, she was like resistant. She was pissed off that those were her animals.
Yeah.
So I told my student, what I think that is. Tell me, what do you think? Why do you think that some people might look at their chart and go, I don't want a rat in my chart. I hate rats. Rats are disgusting or whatever. Why do you think people have that reaction with those animals?
Well, the reaction I had when I first had a reading with you was I hated the fact that I had a dog because I do not like dogs. I've
Oh,
said it before. I'll say it again. I
mhm,
hate dogs. I'm not a
mhm.
dog fan. So that was really hard for me to hear. And also the rabbit. The rabbit, I just thought, oh, I don't
Really?
like that. I don't like that at all. But I thought makes perfect sense. Yeah,
Mhm,
they're anxious and they're nervous and they're kind of looking around it all the time and they want to be in their little thicket away from the
mhm,
world, which is exactly how I feel most of the time. And I had been really relying up till that point, which was my mid 30s, early 30s when I met you.
mhm.
Um, I had relied on my snake to do everything in my chart.
Wow.
And that was kind of an eye-opening experience for me because I had not allowed all of the other parts of me to come out because they were so afraid. And when you've got a snake in your chart, it's easy for that snake to take over and override everything, especially a
Yeah.
young fire snake.
Wow. Wow, that's so
And so
insightful.
it was really protecting all three of my other animals because my other animals were afraid.
Mhm,
And so, when I got to understand the animals that I was so pissed off about, I started to realize, oh, this is where I get some of my intuitive gifts and sensory gifts, just being able to be empathetic towards people. That dog energy is the empath. This is why I'm able to do what I do every day to help other people. The rabbit is so compassionate. This is why I'm
mhm,
able to feel compassion really, really easily. But
mhm.
that fire snake, it it takes
Leave me
over when I
alone.
feel threatened. Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's a lot of people that have known me over the years, and
Mhm.
especially my family that can attest to that. That
Yeah.
snake comes out and it's not going to back down. It's going to protect me. So
Wow.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that what you're saying is the same that I told my student is it's a the animal, like if you're resistant to it, or if you don't like that you have a pig in your chart because the way it sounds, or you have a snake in your chart because you're afraid of snakes. What are you afraid of? What is that animal that you don't like? What don't you like about it? Because it's probably something about yourself that you're not really appreciating and embracing and
Right.
allowing it to be. And
Yeah.
it might be the shadow side, because some people might like, I think this client's or this student's client was a yang fire person. That was their
Mm-hmm.
master element, and it was very strong in their chart. But all of her animals were very passive, and she didn't want to be
That's
seen
me.
as passive.
Right.
She related to the fire,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think we need to embrace the masculine and the feminine, or the assertive and the passive,
A hundred
because
percent.
there's always going to be a time for one of those energies to be present. We need
Yeah.
to you just can't go through life, one way or the other.
You can try,
Yeah.
but then the animal that's taking over is going to get really tired. So, yeah, and I tell all of my young fire people, you are the kind of person that people can take in doses, sometimes small
Mm.
doses. So just be aware of that. You can't run outside and not wear any clothes and stay out in the sun all freaking day long. You're going to get terrible burns all over your body. You can't look straight into the sun. No, it's not good. So
Is
just
that,
understand
do you
that.
mean that's what happened in the street yesterday when I got out of the car? It's 108 degrees outside, and then here's my fiery neighbor across the street.
And I said, "Hey neighbor." And you know what she did? She went like this. And I started
I just
laughing. Oh,
walked
get out of
inside.
here. Don't talk to me. It's too fucking hot. Don't talk.
I have
Um,
like, I'm just hyper focused. Like, I don't see anything around me when I'm just that. Heat just distresses me. I just, I mean, it's fire, it's
mhm.
anxiety, it's explosion. I mean, look what happened yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thanks for changing the topic. I think this is a
Yeah.
worthy topic to discuss. And who knows? I kind of feel like we're, okay, breaking news, and we jump on. And I'm open to doing that with you.
Yeah.
So if something does
Good.
happen and we're not scheduled to do a call to record, let's do it anyway, because I think it's important and I think we can all learn from it. I know I do.
Yeah. Me too.
Okay.
Me
Do
too.
you want to pull a card? Are you going to pull a card for today or for yesterday?
I'm I just pulled a card, a random card, and what I
No,
find
let me
interesting about
switch
it.
here. Let
Okay.
me, there we go.
Oh, good. Now we can see. This is the 3 of fire. This
Oh,
is an
jeez.
abundance card. I think it's funny that we've been talking about a lot of fire, the connection between metal and fire for yesterday's energy, but things are about to look up. That's what it says
Mm,
on this card. Things are looking good. So, um, I think it's important to, while we're going through all of the crazy things that are happening in the world, look within yourself and find the gratitude for the things that are working in your life. Who is around you? Who do you love? Who loves you back? What are the things that you have in your life that you're so thankful for? I know for me, this morning I was washing one of the dishes. And I remember in the townhouse that we used to live in, we didn't have any water pressure. And it drove me crazy for 8 years. The 8 years that we lived there, we had no water pressure. And in this house, it's instantaneous. So, yeah, look at the things in your life that you love.
I love you, my friend.
I love you.
I'm
It's
so grateful.
this was good to get on and talk about this.
Yeah.
Um, we would love for you to comment below what you think about what happened yesterday and
Hmm.
what your thoughts are also on the astrology pertaining to it. What did you think about the astrology that
Hmm.
we were talking about pertaining to what happened yesterday? Comment
Yeah.
below.
Yeah. And I would be interested too in hearing what you were doing, when you found
Yeah.
out,
What were
what
you
were
doing when you found
hmm
out? How are you feeling yesterday? How are your animals being affected by the energy?
Yeah. 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 And always there are links to access our websites.
Yes,
Now
please.
you're on social media. You're on
I
Instagram
am. I'm on
and
Instagram
Facebook.
and TikTok and Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Now your Instagram and Facebook are Create with Jay. Is that what TikTok is?
At Create with Jay. Yep.
Okay. Okay. And for me, I'm not on TikTok, but I am on Instagram. Not really on Facebook, but Instagram, it's via feng shui.
Mhm.
So find me there and follow us because, that's just another place to find links to connect with us, or you can DM
Yeah,
us through there too. But anyway,
perfect.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye,
Hmm.
everyone.
Bye.